Images of a lady in a palace garden. The pleasing match of the sash at her waist with the blossoms of cherry. Many blossoms fallen, much rain of late. The tilt of her head towards the cries of birds beyond the walls. She cannot name them. The tilt of her head towards music from within the palace, that is easily named. The lute of her Empress. Folded arms, hands nestled within sleeves, but cool hands still. Strangely weightless.
So, Gisaku was found here, face down, his face under the water.
That's what I was told. I didn't see him.
And these boulders circled here. A man could trip on one, go headlong into the pond.
Certainly a blind man could, or a drunkard.
Or a fearful man, a running man.
All Gisaku ran from, according to him, were tigers and armies and the occasional dragon.
And those trees?
What about them?
Well, they're close to the wall, and tall enough for their branches to reach over the wall. And on the far side, more trees. It would be easy to climb into the garden that way.
Yukinari? Who would dare enter the palace in such a manner? And palaces have sentries.
Yes, and I spoke to the sentries who found Gisaku. He was lying here, his head towards the palace. So if he was running towards the palace, away from the trees and the outer wall, away from... If only I'd had a chance to examine this place sooner, before all the rain. If he was running, his footprints might... Shonagon. Is that the Empress playing?
Yes.
We haven't spoken with Her Majesty.
No.
Will you ask her for an audience?
Of course.
The fanciful stories Gisaku told held little interest for me, Lieutenant. I was more interested in his own story, his own life. Where had he come from? Who were his parents? I did ask him these questions.
Well, Your Majesty, I heard many stories about my father.
He died when you were very young.
That was one of the stories. Another was that he was a soldier. He laid siege to my mother, then, having plundered, marched away to other battles.
But that was not the version your mother gave you.
No. It was the version boys in my village gave.
And where is that village?
Far, far away, Your Majesty. Sometimes I think it never existed at all. That I merely dreamed the gloomy place. Just as I sometimes dream I was born in a palace just like this. And gave up riches for the wandering life.
Oh, somehow that would not surprise me.
Then I dream I was a baby abandoned in the forest and raised by wolves. I can howl like a wolf. Would you like to hear it?
Not now. My ladies may take fright.
Memories and dreams, Your Majesty. They become confused. Drift like fog.
Sometimes, Gisaku, I think you hide in that foggy memory of yours. But you remember your mother. What version of your father did she bequeath you?
She told me I had no father.
No father?
None. No man engendered me. Or all men did. She said every living creature went into the making of me. So too did the wind, and the rain, and the stars, and the sun and moon. Rice, sake, tea, and flowery fragrance. Music too, and the songs of birds. She took all these things, everything that is, inside her. Through her eyes, and nose, and mouth, and ears, and so on. And in that mixture, I was made.
Which do you find the more convincing? All that is, or a passing soldier?
I note, Your Majesty, that the memory of this man can make you smile.
I have to confess, Lieutenant, that sometimes the mere sight of him brought a smile. Shonagon? He spoke to you about his mother, did he not?
Yes, it was late one evening at the end of a meal. Only Lord Tadanobu and I were left with him.
That mother of mine used to follow me everywhere, like a nagging cough.
Sir, you are drunk.
I believe you are right. If I were a gentleman like you, Lord Tadanobu, I would leave my drunken presence.
I have no doubt that soon your presence will trouble us no longer.
I believe you may be right again. She was a harridan, my mother.
Lady Shonagon, shall we go?
Their Majesty said they would come back after the temple.
I think even His Majesty, if he sees his favourite in this condition...
At times, I was sure I had no mother, as I had no father. I told her that once. I told my mother I had no mother.
This is becoming gibberish.
She's in a city, miles and miles, miles from my home.
Gisaku,
many miles.
I do think you should sleep now.
Still, she turned up. She stood among my friends and told them all I was mad. Told me to bring myself home. Home to mother. I have no home and no family and no need of a mother who hasn't smiled in 20 years. And look here. Look around. These smiling friends. These are my family. Those who recognize me. Those who take delight in me. They are my only family.
I recognize you. Charlatan, drunkard and beggar.
Yes, Lord. You see through all my pretense. To you, I am transparent.
Creature!
Lord Tadanobu, please.
Your time here is almost over. Shonagon, I cannot leave you alone with this wretch, but I must go before I... Will you come with me?
Good night, Mother.
He fell suddenly asleep.
Yes, I've seldom seen a man so drunk.
Interesting. Lord Tadanobu seemed very sure Gisaku's days here were numbered.
He does seem to have been very forceful.
How many days after that night until Gisaku was found dead?
5.
Numbered indeed.
Another remarkable thing about Gisaku, Lieutenant, was his power of recovery. The day after the night Lady Shonagon has just described, he announced his music and his dance.
Your Majesties, I bow humbly before you, in shame. Last night, in the presence of Lord Tadanobu, and more shamefully still in the presence of Lady Shonagon, I behaved in a vulgar and weak-minded manner. I was as drunk as an imbecilic monkey. And now, to beg forgiveness, I offer you Gisaku's music and Gisaku's dance. We have been rehearsing all day, have we not, boys and girls? Then let us venture. Do remember the swing in the rhythm I taught you. Girls and boys, play it for their majesties. For all. For Gisaku. Ha!
He began to move, slowly, sinuously.
It was like a flower unfolding,
His eyes fierce like a warrior.
with the smile of a teasing lover,
Those ugly feet of his.
so nimble and quick, as he danced faster,
And faster,
spinning
spinning.
till his robes were whirling around him. Did he really spin so
That
fast?
his shape became a blur. Did he really when he leapt in the air?
Seemed to hover there high in the air for a long, emotionless moment. Illusion.
What did other people see? Some were giggling.
Gasping. Some looked horrified, disgusted,
Some might have been watching in awe.
even in fear. Several left the room.
How long did it last? Minutes?
Less than a minute.
More than an hour?
No one afterwards could say how long.
Some would say nothing at all. They kept silent.
But their silence was not as deep
As the silence that held
and held
everyone under spell.
at the end of Gisaku's dance. At the end, Lieutenant, he sat very still, like a monk, like a Buddha. One by one, people went out of the room. They left quietly. Do you remember the Emperor's leave-taking?
Of course, Your Majesty. He held his hand over Gisaku's head for a while,
Not touching,
said only his name.
and then left. Now now only Gisaku, Lady Shonagon, and I were in the room. We sat with him.
Did Gisaku speak?
Not for a while.
But we still sat with him. It was as if we were in meditation together. Then at last he spoke.
I used to pray for it to come, the light. But I was wrong to pray for it to come.
What light do you mean, Gisaku?
Why pray when it is already here? Always here. It has been forever. It's all around us. We live in that light, all of us. If we would only open our eyes, our hearts. A lantern.
What lantern?
Words fail. Words fall short. But think this. The universe is like a great lantern. At its center is the sun. It illuminates all. No need for ritual or priestly blessing to ignite this lamp. Its oil is simply love. We are all fools, children. Some of us are wicked fools. But still, the light is bestowed on us.
May I give you the word I believe best sums up Gisaku?
Please, Your Majesty.
Inexplicable.
Yukinari? Where have you been? We were to meet half an hour ago.
I've been with Lord Tadanobu.
Oh, why?
I asked him about the evening Gisaku was ranting about his mother before he passed out.
And?
Lord Tadanobu has no memory of that. He says that when he left, Gisaku was still ranting.
He may be right. What about it?
The Emperor said no one could hold his drink like Gisaku, which is why His Majesty couldn't believe he passed out in the garden, drowned in the pool. But you saw him fall into a drunken stupor. And if Tadanobu is right, only you saw it.
Does this matter?
Perhaps not. How did the other evening end? After the dance, was Gisaku still sitting there when you and the Empress left?
I left first. It was very late, and Her Majesty said I should go to bed.
Gisaku and the Empress were alone together?
There were servants at every door.
Outside the door?
Yukinari.
And servants may be dismissed.
Yukinari, some of the outrageous things you think out loud may lose you all welcome here. Others may lose you your head. Rain. Yet more rain. Water to ruin and drown more blossom, to wash away footprints, traces, signs, to extinguish the light.